Welcome back to the channel. For the first time in a while, I'm going to bring you some Pentax news, and there has actually been quite a bit of news. First of all, we've been told by Pentax that the new K3 Mark III APS-C flagship has been delayed. The initial problem seems to be supply issues for parts, which all manufacturers are suffering in relation to the coronavirus pandemic. So I don't think we should be beating up on Pentax for that. Sony are having similar issues in getting their 35mm lens out. But one thing in the press release that did strike is they didn't just say it was due to part delays, they said it was due to part delays and development issues. Now, I'm not sure if that's really true or if that's simply a poor translation, because I do suspect that all Pentax Rico do when they release a press release is type it in Japanese and then run it through Google Translate, which inevitably will lead to errors. These sort of things have happened before. So do you think there's been development delays, or do you think it simply is a coronavirus related issue? I still think that we'll see the camera released in the shops to buy before the end of 2021, but I think it's looking like it's going to be third or final quarter of the year, whereas we had hoped to have it by the summer. In related news, APS-C wise, Pentax yesterday released a press release telling us about the DA Star 16-50 that's being released to replace the old DA Star 16-50. They specifically mentioned that this lens has been designed to get the best out of the new Pentax K3 Mark III, so I would expect that it's going to be released around about the same time. It did occur to me at the moment that it seems Pentax are targeting their existing clients with little intention of trying to acquire new ones. So I wonder if they would consider releasing the 16-50 DA Star with the K3 Mark III as a kit. Now, no manufacturer that I've ever seen releases professional level lenses with bodies as kits. But given it's been so long since Pentax had an APS-C release, and they seem to be targeting existing users, it seems to me that selling it alongside that, and if it was a really good deal, would probably shift a lot more glass and a lot more bodies than a kit lens ever would. What do you think? Is that a worthwhile effort, or do you think they should stick to the traditional kit lens and body-only options? And in a bizarre twist, we now have some publication of some new J-limited versions of the Pentax K1 Mark II. The J-limiteds are generally only available in Japan, but basically it appears that they take a K1 and stick a lot of stickers on it to make it look different and maybe change the grip a little bit and polish a few things up. For my personal aesthetic, they're hideous, but I know some of you do accidentally love them. But one thing I have to say is, for me, this sort of thing, just like releasing silver copies of everything, smacks of a company that has a low market base that's mainly selling to its existing clients and is trying to just sell the existing people more without actually sinking anything into research and development to bring new products. What do you think? Is this a cynical ploy just to sell a few more extra cameras to collectors for a premium price? Or is it a genuine engagement by Pentax with their user base? Now we have an update on the limited lenses. We are waiting for the release of the new 21 limited, which I know a lot of people are very much anticipating. It seems to be, from the forums and things I'm part of, it seems to have more desire for that than the actual K3 Mark III. But the other limited lenses, the 31, 43 and 71, seem to be also about to have an update. They're about to have their lens coating changed from SMC to HD, which should reduce flaring a little bit more. And they are to have their aperture blades taken from to rounded aperture blades, which should give smoother bokeh. Now, I know a lot of us have been hoping that these lenses would be updated for quite some time. Myself personally, I was hoping for a slightly larger physical version that had a silent motor. That doesn't seem to be what's going to happen. It seems that they're sticking with the original optical design and they're sticking with screw drive. Now, I know they could have stuck with the optical design and made the lenses a bit fatter in order to encompass a motor, but that seems not to have been the decision they made. Now, the HD lenses, the HD lens coating and the change of aperture blades is obviously going to change some of the rendering of these lenses. I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing. These lenses have a cult following, and that cult following comes along with is about the rendering of these lenses. But having said that, I never bought a 31 limited because when I looked at samples, I thought the chromatic aberration and the flaring was shocking on that lens by modern standards, and instead I bought the absolutely huge Sigma 35mm Art, which is a much more clinical lens, which is the sort of thing that I personally like. So will you be swapping your limited lenses for the new updated version, or do you see no real benefit in doing so? And finally, in related Pentax news, I've been trying to obtain a copy of the Monster adapter for Sony, which will allow you to use your Pentax K-mount glass on Sony Alpha bodies sporting the EF mount. I contacted Monster adapter a few weeks ago, and they're not currently available to buy. They hope to have them available to buy very soon. They were quoting the Chinese New Year as being the reason for their delay. However, I think I'm probably going to struggle to get a hold of one because they didn't seem to know how they were going to distribute them in the UK. In fact, they asked me in the conversation who were the UK equivalents to B&H Photo. So I put them on to SRS Microsystems, who are a small retailer but very Pentax focused, and Wex. Now, that makes me think it's going to take quite some time to get a hold of one, and I'm probably going to have to import it direct. Now, in the long term, I don't actually think that these adapters are going to be of much use to me. I prefer to use native glass. But at the moment, I'm still not fully in with Sony, still not fully out with Pentax. So an adapter could be a useful thing just to help me in that transition period while I work out exactly what direction my photography is going in. And I thought that, given that it's only marketed, expected to be around £200, you guys might be interested in a review of the adapter along with some Pentax glass on a Sony body. As, although I don't think it's a long-term thing for me, I know a lot of people out there are very interested in it. If you'd be interested in seeing a review of the Monster adapter, let me know in the comments below, and I will continue to try and get a copy. But in the meantime, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you soon. Bye.